my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten, and today we're doing a video that was voted on by my Patreons, and this video is reading Booktubes Best Weird Books. This is a video idea I've had for a while. Honestly, I was surprised that this is the one that got chosen, but I'm very excited about it. If you have ideas for other videos where you would like me to see reading Booktubes Best insert genre here, let me know in the comments below. I definitely do want to do a sci-fi, thriller and a horror version of these. Any other genres that you think I should be trying, put those in the comments below, or future ones. I will add those to the list. I'm really enjoying doing more like themed vlogs, and so yeah, this is something I'm excited for. But getting back on track to reading Booktube's Best Weird Book, I did lots and lots of research, hours and hours of watching Booktube videos all about weird books. I watched over 25 different videos where people were recommending weird books, and I was collating all the different books that were mentioned and the amount of times they were mentioned. It was a lot. It took me a long time to do, but it was worth it. And I'm going to be reading the top 3 books that were mentioned the most times. Now, in first place, it was actually Bunny by Mona Awad. This was no surprise to me. I figured this was going to be the book that was in first place. I love this book. I'm not reading it for this video because I've already read this, but I will be rereading this book later this year. Very excited for it. This very much is a weird book. If you haven't read Bunny but you're interested in weird books, then you should definitely be giving this one a try. It is so good, and it's definitely at the top of the list for a reason. So I was very happy to see it, but not surprised. Then we go into second place, and second place with 9 votes is Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. This one's translated from Japanese by Ginny Tapley Tokomori, and this one is one I'm really excited to read. This was on my February TBR, I just never got round to it. We're following a main character who believes she's an alien, and things get weird. I've heard the mother-daughter relationship is very dark, very disturbing. This is a book people do not recommend, but they recommend for weird. But it's a weird one, like they didn't actually recommend it, you know? I think this is going to be fantastic. So yeah, this was second place. Again, I wasn't surprised. This is definitely a book and an author that is mentioned many, many times for weird books. So yeah, very excited to be reading this. Then in third place, we had 2 that were tied. So we have Paradise Rot by Jenny Hovell. This is the book that I'm going to be reading for this video. It is a very weird, gross, disturbing book, and there are definitely depictions of gross bodily fluids and stuff, and just, you know, grossness. It's a book that's actually been on my radar for a very long time after hearing people talk about it. This is available on Libby. It's got a 2-week wait at the minute. I'm hoping it becomes available in time for this video. If not, then I am considering either just purchasing a copy, or we will try and see if my local library has a physical copy of this book. This is definitely going to be another book that I read for this video with 8 votes. Now there was, like I say, a tied third position for 8 votes, and that's Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder. Now, I'm not really keen on this book. There's a lot of things about this book that I know I probably won't like. First of all, we're following a parent struggling with parenthood and stuff. That's just something I'm not interested in. Like, I think it can be done very, very well, but I prefer reading it from child's perspective and seeing that relationship, so like how Earthlings is going to be, rather than reading it from the parent's perspective, because it's not something I can connect to. Also, there is animal cruelty in this book, I think, if I'm getting that right, if I'm not getting this mixed up with another book, and I don't like that in books. So I've decided that I'm not going to be reading this one for this video. It was in third place. Let me know in the comments below if you think I should still give it a try, and let me know if the animal cruelty is quite explicit and kind of like done for shock value, because if it's like that, then I know I definitely won't be reading it, but we'll see. You can let me know in the comments below whether you think I should give this one a try. Just from synopsis, from reviews that I have heard, yes, it's very weird. Yes, lots of people recommend it, but there are certain things in it that I think I will not enjoy. So instead, I've gone for the 4th book in the ranking with 7 votes, and that is A Certain Hunger by Chelsea G. Summers. And this one I think is going to be very much more up my alley because we're following a cannibal. And in April, I read 2 books about people eating other people and loved it. Now, this is the book that I'm actually going to be reading first because it's available on Libby right now. This is actually a book I wanted to buy when it first came out, but I was so disappointed with this UK cover because it's just nowhere near as capturing as the US US cover. I much prefer the US cover, but we should not judge a book by its cover. Very excited that it's available on Libby so I can see if I actually want a copy for my shelves. I think I'm going to love this book. I think it's going to be so much fun because we are following Dorothy Daniels. Now, Dorothy Daniels has always had a voracious, adventurous appetite, like from a really young age to being I think she's like a professional chef now. Very good. However, she then decides to follow her unusual appetites to the point where she kills her boyfriend and then cooks him up. What I love about this is at the end, it goes, "But beware. Her story just might make you wonder how your lover would taste sauteed with shallots and mushrooms and deglazed with a little red wine." I think it's going to be so much fun. I'm expecting this to be quite funny and entertaining with also this weirdness to it. I'm actually really looking forward to this one. So this is what I'm going to be reading first. And yeah, I think it's going to be great. You'll have to let me know if you've read any of these books. What did you think of them? But yeah, I'm very excited. So I'm going to start this book. I will check back in when I've read, I don't know, the first little chunk of this book, I guess, what my first impressions are, but I've been really excited for this video. As I said, if you've got any other videos you would like to see this where I'm reading booktubers best genre, then let me know in the comments below. But yeah, I'm so pleased we started with weird books because I love weird books and I definitely have not been giving them the love that they deserve, like the attention that weird books deserve, because I know I love them, but I haven't been reading loads. Okay, admittedly, the cannibal ones that I was reading in April could be categorized as weird, but I would say they're more horror leaning rather than doing it for the weirdness. But anyway, I love a good weird book. I'm very excited about these three. I think this reading week is going to be absolutely amazing. So hopefully you enjoy this video. Hopefully I enjoy the books, and we're just gonna get to it. So grab yourselves a beverage, chill out, join me while we see if these weird books that are booktubers best are actually deserving of that title. I have just finished, well, I say just finished work. I have not. I finished work like almost an hour ago. I have wrapped up last week's video because I finished this book last night, so that's all done. And then I started A Certain Hunger while I was at work, and we have lovely Hermione here chilling out on the chair. So, but yeah, Certain Hunger. So I am halfway through this book, well, just under halfway through this book. My Libby app says it's 466 pages long. It's not. It's only 250-ish pages long. I am about just under halfway through. I am liking this book. So I will say straight off the bat, it's not that weird. I'm not finding it that weird. Like, I am really not finding it that weird. Which is kind of like, I guess because I'm thinking, Bunny, that's weird. That's a little bit trippy and crazy. This book is unhinged women, yeah, but I don't think it's weird. So for me, I'm liking it. I really like the writing, actually. Let me actually find out where I'm up to in the book. That would be helpful. Chapter 9, Banana Bread. We are following Dorothy, and Dorothy is writing this memoir from prison. I'm really liking it. I'm really liking the writing style. I think it's very indulgent. It really shows Dorothy how she is a complete and utter snob. Like, so snobbish, so indulgent. You cannot trust what she's telling you, as much as she's like, oh, you can trust me, I'm telling you the truth. No, you can't, because she even admitted that while she's in prison, she's had people like PhD students and things going to interview her, and she has exaggerated certain things and things like this to give them what they want, to get them to keep coming back. And so she is a master manipulator, and I think it really shows. This book, the way it's written, it kind of jumps around timelines. It goes on different weird little tangents and things. We're at the start of the book where we meet Dorothy and she's killed her lover. A lover that puts her in prison. This death puts her in prison. So we're meeting her as she first met this guy and what she did to him. And then it kind of jumps around in the narrative. We get some bits of when she's younger, growing up, how her mum cooked everything fresh and organically and grew most of the food themselves. How she then went to college and was kind of like being a bit of a rebel. Her rebellion was fast food, and how she started indulging in lots of boys and things. How she really liked digging into their past to then use secrets to hold over them and all of this stuff so that people wouldn't tell what she had been doing and things. And like, you're just seeing lots of these little like affairs and playing with men, indulging in them, and just enjoying pleasures of the flesh, really. A lot of talk about food, which I love because I love my food, so that's great. I'm enjoying that. And a lot of talk about like her first job and how she became a food critic and all of these things. God, is it indulgent. Like, this is a woman that thinks that she is the creme de la creme, the best person in the whole wide world, the sexiest person ever, and she lets you know. But I also kind of love it. I kind of love that she is so self-obsessed, and kind of love the writing, I'm not gonna lie. Like, even though it really is overwritten and indulgent, I kind of like it because I think it works for really understanding Dorothy, really understanding how manipulative she is, love how sure she is herself, how unapologetically herself she actually is. I think it's so good. The more and more I think about it, the more I'm like, oh yeah. Now I will say it's quite slow. It is a really slow book, considering that we're, you know, meant to be reading this book about this woman that has killed and eaten many, many lovers. 80 pages of this at the start was like, after we get that first initial bit of her killing and talking about eating people, we then get 80 pages roughly. It's just her telling stories about her life and little tangents that we go on, the relationship between her and her mum, the way she felt about her dad, and just like little things that, like little snippets of her life. I guess she's given us the kind of like the biggest bits of her life, and so you get 80 pages of that, of just indulging in whatever she wants to tell us, really. And some of it really does go off on really weird tangents, and she will put in there, oh, I apologize, I've gone off on a tangent every so often, and then it picks back up, and now we're at the point where, oh okay, now we're getting into the kills and eating people and stuff, and I kind of like it. And we seem to be starting at the beginning, so like where we started the book was at the end, then we get this whole tangent about her life and growing up and all of this stuff, and then we get the first instance, and now we seem to be going, and then the next person, which I've just read about the second person, so we're going on from there. Honestly, I can see a lot of people not liking this book because it is so overwritten, because it is so indulgent, because it is so slow, but at the same time I like it, and I can really understand why a lot of other people have liked this. Like, she is an unhinged woman. You are definitely supporting women's wrongs with this book. It's a character that I can't help but be fascinated by and want to read more, and also kind of love. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes from here, how dark it's going to get, if the weirdness level ramps up, because if it stays at this point, yes, it's unusual, but I would say more unhinged rather than genuinely weird, like some books I've read, such as Vita Nostra, really weird book, really trippy. Rabbitback Literature Society, another really, really weird book. Like, there are lots of weird and unusual books, but I think this book falls into the more unhinged women side of weird than actually into some of the really trippy weirdness and stuff. So that's going to be something interesting, actually, is to read about these books, is to see where do they fall on that weirdness scale. Is it more unhinged women, which this book seems to be? I would actually put it more on par with, I mean, I guess this is going to be a very on the nose comparison, but The Lamb by Lucy Rose, but if we had it from the mother's perspective, that is what this book is to me. That's what it feels like. I really enjoyed this book. This was a 5-star read, but we see it from the daughter's perspective. This book is if pretty much this was the mum, and that's not a bad thing. Like, the reason why I say it's on the nose, for anyone that hasn't read or heard of The Lamb, this is a book about cannibals, so very on the nose comparison there. I'm trying to think of, like, I guess Boy Parts would be another comparison where we're following, again, that book is also recommended for weird books, but again, that's leaning more on the unhinged women side of things. So yeah, if you're liking that sort of side of it, then I think you'd really like this. For me, I am genuinely liking this book. I think the writing, as much as I said it is overwritten, like, I do like it. I do quite like obnoxious overwritten kind of book. Don't know what that says about me, but I genuinely don't mind it. Like, sometimes it can be a bit too overdone, but I don't mind it. It's kind of given me how I felt about Olivia Blake's writing in The Atlas Six. That kind of very, oh, there's a specific word I'm thinking of and it's just gone. I've been on early shifts, so like my brain's not all there. We'll just go with overindulgent, overwritten slightly. But yeah, I don't mind it. Like, I genuinely don't mind it. Like, I realize there are also moments in this book where certain things are being used for shock value. But again, I think that is written because we're following Dorothy, because this is Dorothy's memoirs and Dorothy is trying to be shocking. And so I feel like those moments where certain words are used are there for shock value. They're there to shock you. They're there to make you go, oh, okay, because this is her memoir. I think if we didn't have that, it wouldn't feel as believable that this is her writing it. And I do like that. I like the fact that we can't really trust this narrative. We can't really trust what she's saying is actually true, how much of it is actually true, how much of it is exaggeration and things, because again, it is from her perspective. So I like it. I think it's really good. With that, I think I would settle on giving this book maybe a 4-star at the minute. I can't decide whether it would be a 4 or a 4.25. I can't quite decide. I think we'll see how the rest of the book goes. But the more I sit on it, the more I like the writing, and I think I would happily have this on my shelves to underline certain bits, because I do like some of those really cutting remarks that Dorothy's making in this book. So yeah, I'm just intrigued to see where it's going to go. So this is a really quick read for me. I'm flying through it. However, because I'm reading it on my Libby app, only on my phone, I haven't worked out how to send it to my Kindle. I know people can do that, but every time I try, it says that the format is not recognized with my Kindle. So I don't know how the hell I meant to do that. I'm gonna have to look into it more. In the meantime though, I don't like reading on my phone at home. I really don't enjoy it. I'm fine with it out and about, but I do not enjoy reading on my phone at home. It's really weird. Honestly, if I could transfer it to my Kindle, I would 100% go back to reading this book this evening, because I am really liking it and I do just kind of want to finish it, and I feel like I could easily binge read this book. Like, it's a short book, definitely get through it quite quickly. So I might try. I might have a look online and see if I can work out how to send it to my actual Kindle. I don't mind reading on my Kindle because it's a bigger screen. That works fine. Don't want to read it on this though. So we'll have a look. We'll see if I can work it out. If I can't, I want to read something this evening. So I'm thinking to start Earthlings, because it's the only physical book I have. So might as well. And yeah, I'm looking forward to giving this one a try. Again, this is around it's 247 pages. I think this is going to be another quick, easy read. So yeah, we'll see. And it'll be very interesting to compare the weirdness level in this to A Certain Hunger. But so far, I'm liking A Certain Hunger. I think it's really good. Don't think it's that weird, but I like it. Unhinged, yes. Which I guess it depends on what your definition of a weird book is. For me, I think Earthlings is going to be closer to what a weird book is, like Bunny, and just how bonkers some of the scenes in that was. Whereas, like I say, I think Certain Hunger is just more unhinged. Supporting women's wrongs. You know, if you're all those reels and TikToks that you see of books recommendations of supporting women's wrongs, this would fit perfectly in that. And a lot of those books are really weird because they're acting outside the norm for society, but that's kind of the point of those books. So yes, it's weird. I don't think it's really weird. I guess I was expecting a little bit more weird, but I'm not disappointed in that either. Okay, well, I think I've repeated myself several times, so I think we get the point. I'm going to go, I've got some editing, I want to do some food and things, and then this evening I will settle in and either continue reading A Certain Hunger if I can work out how to get onto my Kindle. If not, we'll start Earthlings and yeah, go from there. But this is off to a really good start. finished A Certain Hunger, and you know, I liked it. I thought it was a decent book. I stand by what I said. I don't think this is like a truly weird, bizarre book. This is definitely more feminine rage, and I did like it for that. I liked a lot of the questions that it was pulling into things. Some of this book spends a bit of time talking about prison system in America and how you get better healthcare in prison than what you do outside of it, how even the food is arguably better than some schools. I think that was really interesting to talk about, and also a lot of misogyny in that being discussed throughout the book as well. So I did like some of those discussions. I will say there were points that started to bore me though, like we got a whole chapter on how meat is prepared for kosher meat. I'm probably mispronouncing that, sorry. How that process is done, and I'm like, while this is interesting, it's not something I would have chosen to read about. But then at the same time, you then had some wonderful descriptions of food, and then of course you had the absolute crazy behaviour of Dorothy setting up these murders and how she went about planning them, and then you kind of just saw her deteriorate even further towards the end and how she got caught. It was an interesting book. Do I think I would necessarily reread this one? I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't have been bothered if I'd never read this book. I was toying between, obviously originally I was saying like maybe a 4.25 because the writing itself is really good. Like I would definitely read more from this author. I think the way it's written is very good. I did enjoy the topics of it. I just think some bits were a little bit slow. And so then I was thinking, okay, so if I ignore the writing in this and it's just based on like my enjoyment, how focused I was on this book, it would be more like a like a low 4, so then that would be a 3.75. I'm not really sure where I'm landing on a rating. I feel like I'm quite happy with a 3.75 because it was an interesting book. I did enjoy it. I did like those female rage moments. I like the fact that we're supporting women's wrongs. I like being inside this character's head. I liked how honestly just so stuck up she was, but I kind of liked it. Like I enjoyed all of that. So I think as a character she was fascinating. I think there were just moments that were a little bit too slow for me, and I was ready for the book to be over at this point. I feel like the length book that it was perfect. So yeah, so I don't know. I feel like maybe when I've sat with this one longer, it could go up to a 4-star. Currently, I'm gonna land on a 3.75, having finished this book a few hours ago, and how I felt towards the second half of this book. Like it was really interesting. All the details, the reason why this all started happening in the first place, all of that. It was all really, really interesting, but I can say there were definitely moments that I probably would have taken out of this book. Honestly, probably only 2 where I would have removed those chapters altogether. I think for that I'm going to put it as a 3.75, but I do also think I'll be thinking about this book quite a lot because I did enjoy this. Like I think the way it was written, I think worked so well for who Dorothy is. So I really think what Chelsea D. Summers did was really effective and I really enjoyed it. And so this is why I'm like, where do I sit with it? I just think for me it was, the pacing got very slow. I mean, it's a slow paced book anyway, but I feel like it definitely slowed down in a couple of points, and there were 2 chapters that I would take out that I feel like didn't really add much to the plot. For that I'm going a low 4-star. And I have been strict that if a book feels like a low 4-star, I am not just going to give it 4 stars. I will give it a 3.75. If, say, I was going to put it on Goodreads, it would be rounded up to a 4-star. Slight tangent here, which I know you've probably heard before, but like I used to, when I was giving out star ratings, just give everything 4 stars. And so I've now become really strict. If I think a book is a high 4 stars, it's a 4.25. If I think a book is a low 4-star, it's a 3.75. And I feel like I am more leaning towards a low 4-star with this book, just because of those things that I've already mentioned. But if I was basing it just purely on writing, so like if we take out the pacing, if we take out things like that, the writing itself was so good at portraying Dorothy and really getting her personality across. And I think towards the end especially, it really got you questioning how much of what Dorothy is saying can you actually believe in? How much of it can you actually trust? And so I really liked that. Now I was doing that from the start with this book anyway, because I got that feeling straight away, but really towards the end she really starts to lose it. But I also kind of like that. I think this is definitely a book I would be recommended to anyone that wants a feminine rage book, go for this one. I think horror is kind of like lighter on the horror end. Yes, you have moments where it's depicting some body horror where Dorothy is harvesting different parts to cook, but I don't think anything of it was truly really scary. So I feel like definitely lighter end. It's more like a literary horror, which is something I never thought I would actually like. I didn't think I was a massive literary person, but actually literary horror I do really like. Like there's been a couple of books like that which I have really enjoyed. I am really pleased with this one. For me, I was going into it expecting it to be slightly weirder than what it was, and it didn't quite work for that, but the actual book itself, yeah, a couple things I would change here and there. So a low 4-star, really happy with that. Moving on from there, Earthlings. I started this one, I haven't got far into it. I'm in the middle of a chapter. I am up to page 43, I think it's chapter 3 I'm in? Oh no, chapter 2. They're quite long chapters, but it's really easy to read. Like the writing, like the formatting of it is really easy on my eyes. So this is not going to take me long to get through at all. I finished A Certain Hunger on my lunch break, and so I started reading little bits of this and on my train home and that, and it's really easy writing style, really easy to get into. Now I can say this is weird straight off the bat. I feel like this definitely hits that weirdness that I was looking for from these books. So in this one we're following Natsuki, and it says on the back that as a child Natsuki believed she was an alien, and yes, but also no. So at the start of this book, we actually meet her as she is telling her cousin that she is a wizard, that she has this little hedgehog cuddly toy, this little guy. I did wonder why there was a hedgehog on the front, and it got explained so early on. It was awesome. He has come from the alien world, and he gives her different powers and things. And then her cousin says, oh, wow, that's amazing, because this hedgehog is from the same world that I'm from, because I'm an alien. And then as children they make this pact that they will get married, and cousin's trying to find a way back home. She wants to go with him, but he's like, I can't take you to my planet, but you know, I won't just leave without telling you, you know. And so they meet up once a year at this family gathering, and they go looking for this spaceship, and she helps with her powers. It's so unusual and weird, because you can definitely go, oh, like this is childhood imagination running wild with them, but also the way they act and believe it goes deeper than that. I will say the relationship between Natsuko and her mum straight off the bat, horrible. Her mum is so condescending and horrible to her, constantly putting her down, constantly saying horrible things, and that was straight away in just few of things that are being said. There's also a scene that's just happened with very inappropriate behavior and touching from a teacher, and gonna have to check your trigger warnings with this one. You are going to have to. It's really interesting because we're all getting it from Natsuki's perspective, and she believes the things that are being said about her. She believes that she's a loser. She believes that she is just hopeless and can't do anything right and all of these things, and she really does feel like she is different to everybody. So she calls it a wizard, but you can see how it comes across as she just feels like she's an alien compared to everyone else. And she makes comments on things, seeing it from a really unusual lens, and it's kind of odd because you're like, honestly, it's kind of true though. The way she views society, the way she views houses and things like this, like it's very interesting. So I kind of like it. I kind of like seeing it from this perspective of a child. I'm intrigued. I like this. Like the weirdness is there straight away. It's unsettling. It's discomforting straight away as well. Like this is not a book that's, I want to say like an easy one to read and stuff, and like this is a book that is going to unsettle you. And yeah, I'm kind of intrigued to see where it's going to go from there. So yeah, first impressions, definitely weird. Interested to see where it's going to go. And this is what I mean. I think that starting this also put into greater relief how A Certain Hunger really doesn't have that same weirdness level. Hermione has come to say hi. Basically, I got lazy and couldn't be bothered to get my tripod, and you're sitting on a chair, and now she's moving the camera and stuff. So yeah, but yeah, it really put into sharp relief how A Certain Hunger really isn't, it's not weird like I mentioned some of the other books and like Earthlings and stuff. Instead, it's more that feminine rage and how that's manifesting. And I like that. I think it's good, but like I said, I don't think it's the full weird, which is weird because then I'm like thinking to myself, well, how would I define weirdness? And I don't think it is something you can fully define. Like, I guess A Certain Hunger would be weird because it's not the norm for society and how people should act. And so by that definition, it's a weird book. It's interesting. Anyway, right, I'm going to go. There is a live show that's happening for the start of Jurassic Park, which I'm very excited about. I'm not reading Jurassic Park yet. I've got a few books I want to get to first, and I want to take Jurassic Park on holiday, but I thought I'd join in the first like live show and have that one in the background while I get on and do things. I need to finish editing a video, and yeah, then we'll just chill. As you saw, I've been playing some Animal Crossing, which has been fun. Let me just move this, see if she'll let me keep the camera there. But yeah, started playing Animal Crossing again. I mentioned that in another video, but I'm just enjoying it. It's really fun to just relax too, and I kind of like, I don't know, I go through, I mean, I mentioned, oh, hello. We're being moved. Hang on a minute. Let me move you over a bit. But yeah, like I go through phases of when I want to play it and stuff, and it's such a nice simple game that you can do that with. Like you really can just pick up, put it down, come back to it whenever you want, and it's just nice to chill to. Like I know probably from next week well, actually I say that, probably like from tomorrow I'm not going to get as much time to actually play Animal Crossing and stuff because I'm more reading to do and things to keep on top of, but it's been nice to do, and I might even take this on holiday with me as well, chill out and play some of this maybe on the aeroplane or something. That's quite fun to do, so we'll do that. I'm doing like a mushroom foresty theme because I was always like, oh, forest is so boring and stuff, but I'm actually going to go for a completely flat island. Like I'm not doing any terraforming, so the water terraforming, so all of that staying the same. All I'm going to do is just flatten it so we don't have anything going up and down and things like this. Everything else we're just going to see, hello, yeah, how it goes. But yeah, okay, right, I think this is her cue to be like, can we stop talking to a camera and give me attention? So I'm gonna go. I'll see you in a few days when I have read more of Earthlings, and yeah, we'll go from there. I'm gonna be starting Paradise Rock. That's actually, the hold for that came in today. Like literally I finished A Certain Hunger and then my hold for Paradise Rock came in, which was really fun. Probably be starting that one as well probably in the next couple of days. So yeah, okay, right, I will chat to you soon. I finished Earthlings, and what did I just read? I actually read pretty much all of this book today. It's very next day. Wow. This book definitely wins for weird. So far in this vlog, 100% hands down, this is winning weird. I think this book is very weird. Works. I can definitely see why it's recommended, why it's in so many people's best weird books, because it really is a very weird book. It did, funnily enough, remind me a little bit of You Let Me In by Camilla Bruce. Now, You Let Me In by Camilla Bruce is like a 5-star read. Absolutely love this book. Deal with the same sort of thing. So in both of these books, we're dealing with main characters that have dealt with abuse from a very young age. As a way to kind of protect themselves, they have this storyline of what's actually going on that it may not actually be real. Now, I think in You Let Me In, it does a much better job of kind of letting you decide what's real and what's not. Is the reality that this child is suffering with horrendous abuse from her parents, or is it actually the fairy folklore side of things, or as our main character questions, could it not be both? And then in Earthlings, I feel like it's kind of that exact same thing, not just from her parents, from a lot of other things. Like, check your trigger warnings with this book. There are some very graphic scenes in here, so just keep that in mind. Kind of deals with that same thing. She's dealing with abuse at a very young age. She is then got this reality of I'm a wizard, which then later changes to actually feeling like she is an alien. So yes, that does happen. Like when so obviously, as you know, literally the last update, I'm like, it's not quite right on the back. She doesn't actually think she does. She does, and that all progresses. And you know, that argument can be done where it's like, well, she's creating this reality to protect herself from that abuse. While yes, you could make an argument of what if it is true and stuff, I feel like in this book it's more of a commentary on those that deal with abuse and how they try and just survive. That is a key thing in this book. It is said many times of you just have to survive, and the way Natsuki chooses to do that, it is really quite gut-wrenching at moments. Like I say, it is a very graphic book, but the ending of this, oh my god, it took a whole turn where I'm like, really? what is going on? So yeah, I think there were definitely some slow moments in this book, and I'm kind of like, again, struggling a little bit with the start rating, not anywhere near as much as A Certain Hunger. For a while, I was thinking this book was sitting at a 3.5. As much as I can appreciate what it's doing with the plot, the story that it's telling, the writing style for me I found a little bit difficult to connect to. I'm definitely someone that prefers a more decadent, sumptuous, lyrical writing style. Like, I absolutely love it. This one felt a little bit more blunt, to the point. Certain things, how they were said, didn't necessarily feel quite right. Now that could just be more of a cultural thing than anything else, just in terms of the way dialogue is used and stuff, because I feel like I have come across this with Japanese books that I have read. In my 4th Japanese novel, and in all 4 of them I have found the dialogue to be a little bit stilted, so I think that's not really this particular author. I think maybe that's just potentially the way it's translated, maybe, I'm not sure. I just find it a little bit stilted, so it doesn't fully connect, because I will have that question mark of this hasn't fully worked for me. For that, with some of the slower moments and stuff, I was definitely thinking a 3.5. As much as I can say yes, this book wins for weirdness, I do prefer the writing style in A Certain Hunger. The ending was so completely absurd and so out of nowhere, like I did not expect it at all, that it's going to have me thinking about this book so much more than it will have me thinking about A Certain Hunger. I was then thinking, actually, I think they should both be a 3.75, like both a low 4-star, because I like what they're both doing in different ways. I like the different commentary that's done in different ways. I had issues with both of the books. Like, there are certain things that were being said in here that are so nonchalant that I'm like, no, that's not the way it should be. It's more of like a really harsh look and commentary, and the reality is, I know these sort of things are going to be said to people, and it is horrendous. There's a lot of focus on this society being a factory, just churning out babies and things, and I hate the idea of that. I really do not have any interest in having children and stuff, but at the same time, like, it's kind of true. The expectation is that women are supposed to have kids. Like, the amount of people I have had to come up to me going, but why don't you want children? I'm like, the world's overpopulated as it is. I think me choosing not to have children is not that big of an impact, and like certain reasonings that they give, I'm like, none of those reasons are good reasons to have children. Natsuki really comments on the fact that she doesn't feel like her body is her own body, that her body is a tool to keep producing, to keep like population going, rather than actually being her body, and like how her autonomy is basically taken away from all of the pressures and things of society and stuff. And I feel like a lot of that was done really well. It's just, I found it a little bit, I don't know, I guess for me, because I like that more lyrical way of doing it, this was direct, to the point, blunt, but at the same time, I'm gonna remember this book so much because of that more direct writing style. I think that's, again, that's just a personal preference thing. I can really see why a lot of people have given this book 5 stars, and I probably will reread this one. I could really get into the details of it, really pull apart all the different comments it has on society, and I feel like upon reread and really pulling that apart, I feel like this could get a higher rating from me, and that's something I wanted to talk about actually. Weird books from me, they don't always get the best ratings straight away from me. So going back to 2 books that I've already mentioned, Bunny. I had DNF'd this book at first. I tried to read this and DNF'd it, and then I read it with my friend at work. That was back in August 2022. But I had tried reading this book the year prior and could not get into it. Like, I DNF'd it, but I didn't quite want to get rid of it, mainly because I loved this cover so much. As so many people had been loving it, I was definitely feeling FOMO, so I wanted to read this one eventually, and I was like, I'm sure, and to be honest, I'm glad I did that, because this is a 5-star read from me. I love Bunny so much, again, because I could really go into what Mona Elwood was doing with this book, and I thought it was so good and so well done. And the same kind of goes for Vita Nostra. Is I listened to this on audiobook, I think around the same time, no, before. I think it must have been 2021 that I was listening to this audiobook, back when I was listening to audiobooks regularly, and I finished it and I went, what the hell was that? And I think I ended up giving it like a 3-star or something. But this is a book that has not left my brain. Like, genuinely not left my brain. I will recommend it all the time, because actually I think it was pretty darn amazing. But at the time when I first finished it, 3 stars. And this is a book I definitely want to be rereading this year. So I think upon reread, this book could easily get a 4 to 5 star, depending on how I find loved reading it physically, but just in terms of the fact that it's not left my brain, again, it's so unusual and so weird. And I feel like Earthlings has got a very similar chance. Now, it's not like You Let Me In, where I gave this an instant 5 stars, but again, I think that's more to do with writing, and it'll be interesting to see if either by the end of this weekly reading vlog or even in my wrap up, whether the star rating has creeped up a little bit, because some books I do find I just need to sit with a little bit longer rather than my instant gut reaction. A really good recent example of this is It Lasts Forever and Then It's Over. So this was for an exclusive reading vlog on Patreon, and when I first finished this book, I saw a lot of things that I was like, this could have been better, that could have been better, and I ended up giving it a 4 star. I've not stopped thinking about this book at all. Like, I genuinely, there are certain scenes where I'm like, I could reread that scene and pull so much out from it. Do I want that scene to be longer? Hands down, without a doubt. So in that space of time, from literally, I think it's been about 3.5 weeks, maybe 4 weeks since I read this book, it's already gone up to a 4.25. Probably end up higher by the end of this year because I don't stop thinking about certain scenes in this book. This is another weird, unusual book. Like, I've read a lot of weird books this year. I really do think Earthlings is going to do that. It's just got all those right elements where it's got the weirdness, it's got the questions of society, it's a bit more blunt and direct about it, but I think if I go in expecting that a little bit more, if I kind of look past that, I think this could get so much higher than the 3.75. Already, just talking about it with you, I want to now give it 4 stars. This is what I mean. This is a book that is going to keep growing with me, and I know upon reread I will get a lot more out of this. I will probably annotate it. I'm not going to recommend this to anyone, by the way, unless of course you check your trigger warnings and you're okay with that. I want to say I really enjoyed reading it, but I didn't, because the subject matter and stuff's really dark, but I did enjoy it, like, at the same time. Like, I do think do I just give it the 4? Probably. This is going to be one of the ones where I've been writing down in my journal what star rating I give things, and I think this is going to be one that's just going to be continuously crossed out and rewritten because it was weird and unusual, and it's blunt and direct, and it's horrific. I mean, just the fact that I was able to binge read this all in one day, like, it's so easy to read. If I'm not enjoying a book, I won't binge read it. Like, I will stop and give myself a break, and instead, every opportunity, I was coming back to this book. I think writing style for me, 3.5. What I actually got from this book and what I liked about the plot, the themes it was exploring and stuff, I think it deserves more. I will give you a rating at the end of this, but do check out my wrap up to see if this has gone up. It's not going to go down. The lowest is going to be a 3.75, but I think honestly, probably by the end of the month, it'll probably be up to a 4 star. I don't think it will get higher than 4 until I have reread this one. Definitely is really close. Oh my god, I'm really enjoying this video. Like, I'm having so much fun. I will say, this is now the 4th book where I have read something and I wasn't expecting it. And I'm not, again, not gonna say because of spoilers and stuff, but like, why is that something I like? I mean, again, it's being used as like a metaphor for things and stuff, but I just really like how it's being used. Like, I think I need to seek help. days and I have read Paradise Rot. This one's translated. This is translated from Norwegian by Marjam Idris. I am probably butchering all of that pronunciation. It was an okay book. It was a very quick read. I read it in the one day. It's only 160 pages and I kind of didn't really get on with the writing style in this one. It felt very disconnected, but I feel like that was the point because we're following a main character who's moved over from Norway, and I assume it's somewhere in Britain because they talk a lot about how the Brits have their tea and stuff, so I'm pretty sure it was somewhere in Britain. You can tell I didn't pay too much attention to that. They've come over to study, they're studying biology, feel very out of place. They feel very adrift, and that is the feeling that you get from this book. So I feel like it was done very well. It comes across as a fever dream, so it works for a really weird book, but this just wasn't for me because things it was focusing on like are so much to do with urine that I'm just like, why do we need that much urine in one book? In 160 pages, I have never read about someone going to the toilet as much as this. Like, I just don't understand. Yes, it's a natural bodily function. That doesn't mean I want to read about it. So yeah, I mean, I knew that going into this book. Like, I did know about that. That was not a surprise. It was just, I thought I wouldn't like it, and I was correct in thinking that I wouldn't like those aspects, but I was just intrigued to see what else this book does. I've heard it mention about like toxic friendships and things like this, and yes, it does have that in there. It's done in a very surreal way, which it does work. Like, if you're someone that's after a fever dream book that's short and you don't mind talk about urine, then yeah, this book is worth it. But for me, it just didn't really do much for me. The disconnect at the start, feeling like a stranger when you've just come over to a new country, things like that, I think that was very interestingly explored. It was just a very unconnected from reality kind of book, and it wasn't terrible, but it's just not for me. So I've landed on a 2.5 for this one. Like, I'm not going to read it again. It's not something that I can be like, oh, I'm really happy I read this. Like, honestly, I would have DNF'd, but because it's such a short book, I finished it because, you know, 160 pages. Not that big a commitment. There were some instances that were kind of interesting to see where it was going and the things that it was questioning, but I also feel like there were things that could have been explored more and gone more in depth. I feel like if we had just done less page space on urine and did more on the rest of the story, then that would have been better, in my opinion. It wasn't for me, but it does do the weirdness. So I thought I would wrap up this video by doing a couple of things. So I want to go through the books in order of what I enjoyed reading and liked reading, then do the weirdness scale, and then kind of like, after all of this, what do I think a weird book is? I'm going to start off with the order of books that I liked them in. So in last place we have Paradise Rot, 2.5, wasn't that interested. Then upon reflection, I'm actually putting Earthlings in second place because the writing style, like, again, while I can like what this book was doing, what it was exploring, I like the different things that I can pull from this book, and you know, that I know when I go around to rereading this, because I probably will eventually, I will be able to pull things out from it that are comments on society and stuff, and I do think it explored that. At the same time as all of that though, the writing style isn't my favourite, and so I think I am actually going to settle back on a 3.75. As much as I think a reread I could appreciate it more, for this first time reading it, I'm going to set with a 3.75 because of that writing style, because in comparison to that, A Certain Hunger just had the better writing for me. Like, I really enjoyed this writing. I thought the way it was done was really clever. I really liked the tone and voice to this, the way it really sounded like Dorothy, like we really got her character in this book. And yes, there were a couple of moments that I said I do want to take out of it, but I think I'm actually going to bump that one up to a 4-star, because in terms of writing, that is much more the writing style that I prefer. And so in terms of like enjoying what I was reading, I would say Certain Hunger is my favourite book out of this video because of that writing style. I really did like it, and I know that this is a book that I will probably get hold of a copy eventually, reread it probably sooner than Earthlings, and then maybe I'll have better appreciation for that one main scene that I was talking about, the process on how they did kosher meat. Is it kosher or kosher meat? kosher. So that whole section on kosher meat and how that was all done, like I get why it was in there because it actually played a role a little bit later. So I do understand it, but also I did find it a little bit slow. But considering that was the only real thing, I mean one thing from the start, but again I can see why it was in there. So I think it deserves that 4 stars more than this one because Earthlings, like I say, the writing style wasn't fully for me. That's where I'm gonna go in order of enjoyment. And then if we go for order of weirdness, A Certain Hunger is the least weird in my opinion. Still a really good book for feminine rage, supporting women's wrongs, things like that. Very good for that, but it is the least weird, so I agree with Booktube in its ranking. Then I would say Paradise Rot is next. So again, I'm still agreeing. I think I'm actually just agreeing with Booktube and the order they rank these books. Paradise Rot is in second place in terms of weirdness for me. Very fever dream-esque, so it does work for that weirdness. And then in first place, Earthlings, which is what happened with the voting. So this one had, was it 9 votes? And then it was Paradise Rot with 8, and then A Certain Hunger with 7. So yeah, that does work in terms of the ranking of weirdness. I agree with Booktube on that. Which then brings me to the question of what exactly is a weird book? And I think, to be honest, a weird book has a few different characteristics. It doesn't have to have all of them, but it is something where the base core of it is an abnormality from what we consider a norm as society, and it's questioning that through different lenses. So for instance, Paradise Rot with that fever dream quality, a book that has a fever dream reality to it can feel like a very weird book. Or a book like this where somebody can't relate to reality and sees them in a different way, like it is with Earthlings. Even in A Certain Hunger, where we have our female character that is expressing herself through eating men, and obviously this is not quote unquote normal behavior. So I feel like that is kind of what a weird book is. However, it's not limited to just those sort of things. You've also got weird books that do play with reality, what's actually going on, what does the reader know that's actually going on, and like in the case of Bunny, things get revealed towards the end that make you question the whole book. You've also got weird books like Piranesi, which is a book that's weird because the place that it's set in is very weird and unusual, and our characters kind of like not all there really, lost themselves in the labyrinth that they're in. You know, again, other weird books would be something like House of Leaves with a very unique reading style, and there are many different things, but I would say it is a book that plays with context, reality, things like that, that makes a weird book, as well as being able to question society and having people act, like I already mentioned, outside of societal norms. I do like it. Like, I love a weird book because I love how it can express commentary on society through characters that act outside of the norm, and because they're acting outside the norm, you can question, why is the norm the norm? And I don't know, I really like it. So it'll be interesting to see what you think of a weird book. Like, what are things that you would class as weird? I think again, it's one of those subgenres that are very flexible depending on you as a reader and what you see as normal and what you see as weird. So like, you may disagree with my order and actually think that A Certain Hunger is a very, very weird book, whereas I am not seeing that way. I'm seeing it as an expression of female rage, and I don't think that's weird. Eating people is too far. Don't get me wrong, I'm not supporting that you should go out and eat people. That's not what I'm saying. But female rage is not weird. That's going on. I think we're going to get down on a really weird tangent if we go down that path, and I don't think we should do that. It was an interesting reading time. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed exploring different things, and I knew I would like A Certain Hunger, and I'm really pleased that that proved true. I also thought I would like Earthlings, and I honestly think if the writing style was just slightly different, I probably would have enjoyed this one a lot more, because again, the topics it's exploring, things like that, is similar to other books I've given 5 stars. It's just Paradise Rot, which again, I like the fever dream aspect to it. I just didn't like all the urine. Never thought that was going to be something I'd say in a sentence, which is also the main thing that had been putting me off reading that book, is knowing it had that in there. But obviously it came up for this video, so I was going to be reading it. But before I go, I'm really excited because I have a book parcel. So this is Everand. For those of you that don't know, this is Illumicrate's spin-off like horror book box, which they do every 3 months. I don't have a subscription. I just bought I think it was the April book, and I'm really excited because this was a book I was interested in reading anyway. It was a contender for my new releases video. The reason why I decided just to go for it is because I'm going to be getting a special edition, and it was only £20. But if I wanted to buy the hardback book of this normally in just like a bookshop, it was £22. So I'm saving £2 and getting a special edition. Okay, I had to pay for postage, but like for the actual book, that's pretty good. Like, I'm pretty impressed. I'm on the waiting list because the last few books that have been in this, like the subscription, the last few ones, have all been books that I've been wanting to read. I'm really tempted to buy the Bat Eater one as well, but I have a ebook of that. I might as well read the ebook first and see if I want a physical copy, and then if I do, hopefully they've still got it available for me to purchase. I am so excited. It says A Little Fright for Your Night. Also tempted to try their Sci-Fi one, so if anyone's tried that, please let me know if you think that's worth a try. Again, I'm on the wait list. Anyway, we have the spoiler card. Ooh, oh, this is so very different. Okay, so this is The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig. Now, this would be my first Chuck Wendig book, but I am really intrigued by this one because it's like a portal horror, which I love a good portal fantasy story, so I'm really intrigued to see how this is gonna go. This is gorgeous. Has a little quote on the back which says, "A house at first is not a home. Home is where the heart is." Very true. Love this. Oh, this is really cool. It's like wood with lots of like different writing, like it's graffiti. This place hates you, and oh, okay, this is very interesting. And then we've got some art on the end back. Wow, look at this. Oh my god. I think, is it the same or different? How cool. Oh, I'm so excited. And then Under the Dust Jacket. Now, doesn't that look amazing? Oh, I love this. I really love this. That is awesome. Very happy with that. That's my new horror book to add to the collection. I'm very excited, and I will definitely be keeping my eye out to see what their next one's going to be. That was my little bit of book mouth. That ends this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Again, let me know if you like weird books. What are some weird books that you've really enjoyed? Do let me know in the comments below. If you're interested in other weird books that I've read, I do have a whole weird books recommendations video, which I'll have linked for you that you can have a look at. I'm just going to carry on waffling on, talking about all the things I've already talked about, so I'm gonna leave you in peace. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I really appreciate it. If you've made it this far and just don't know what to comment, then leave any green emoji, because I really enjoyed the green books in this video. So any green emoji in the comments below. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch, and an extra special thank you to my Patreons for voting on this video, for making these sort of things possible. Like, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and all of your support. Like, it thank you. But if you have enjoyed this video, then please do consider giving it that thumbs up, subscribing, commenting, all the usual things. It really does help this channel out, so thank you so much. My social media links, Patreon, Discord, everything is always linked below for you, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.